You've probably met a guy who didn't need to open his mouth for everyone to notice him. He wasn't the most handsome, nor the richest, but there was something there, a quiet detail that made women look twice. The funny thing is, most men go through life without understanding this secret, believing they need to talk a lot, show off, or prove themselves to be noticed. But what if I told you that, in reality, less is it more? This behavior has nothing to do with ready-made phrases, flirtatious tricks, or cheap games. It's something that comes from within, manifesting naturally in posture, gaze, and energy. It's the kind of presence that ignites desire, stirs instinct, and creates a connection before a word is even spoken. And when a man masters this, he doesn't compete for attention. He attracts attention. The truth is that there are silent signals that communicate value, security, and personal magnetism so intensely that the female subconscious cannot ignore them. These are gestures, expressions, and small actions that create a lasting emotional impact. That's why some men leave deep marks without apparent effort, while others seem invisible, even when trying incredibly hard. And perhaps the biggest expectation breaker is this: you don't have to change who you are, but rather learn to show who you are in a way that speaks directly to emotion and imagination. Once you understand how to do this, you'll notice that the game changes completely, and best of all, the results are fast. So, if you want to discover how to activate this powerful silent trigger, get ready, because what comes next could forever change the way you are perceived. The power of silent presence. There are men who enter a room and don't need to say a single word for everyone to notice their presence. It's as if the air becomes denser, charged with an energy that effortlessly attracts attention. This isn't magic, it's self-mastery. Attraction, instinct, and personal magnetism meet at the exact point where firm posture and conscious silence unite. Those who master this art don't compete for others' attention. They simply win it over. Imagine a man who, upon arriving at a restaurant, walks calmly, surveys the place, chooses his table, and sits down as if he has all the time in the world. He's not in a rush, doesn't seem worried about proving anything. This attitude conveys value, control, and security, and arouses natural curiosity. The female mind interprets this as power, as if he were in command even without opening his mouth. Silent presence is much more about energy than words. It's maintaining an upright posture, relaxed shoulders, and a slightly raised head, as if knowing you're in the right place. It's about not gesturing excessively, but using each movement with intention. This type of behavior arouses desire and respect because it conveys the message, I don't need to convince you, you'll want to discover me. The secret lies in understanding that attention isn't something you ask for, it's something you attract. When a man maintains an intense silence, he creates an invisible tension in the air. It's as if he's leaving space for a woman's curiosity to fill. And the more space she has to imagine, the stronger the connection becomes. This is the difference between someone who talks too much and someone who understands the impact of simply being there. And, of course, being physically present isn't enough. You need emotional presence. This means being 100% in the moment, without distractions, as if nothing else matters. When a man can combine posture, energy, and mindfulness, he becomes impossible to ignore. And it's precisely this foundation that paves the way for the next essential element, posture that conveys confidence and security. The posture that conveys confidence and security. The way a man stands in the world speaks volumes before he even utters a word. Shoulders slightly back, chest open, and chin aligned with the horizon convey not only presence, but also a personal magnetism that stirs the instincts and desires of those who observe him. This posture isn't about looking big. but rather about conveying confidence in a natural way, without forced exaggerations that betray insecurity. A practical example: observe a respected leader. He never slouches, shrinks, or fidgets. Instead, his body language is stable, his gestures firm and controlled. This creates an immediate impact because the human brain associates physical balance with emotional balance. For a woman, this evokes the feeling that the man knows what he's doing, and that's irresistible. Maintaining a confident posture also requires awareness of movement. It's not about walking as if you're in a parade, but about walking with a steady rhythm, with confident steps, conveying dominance and control over your own space. Even when sitting, a confident man keeps his back supported, his body relaxed, without crossing his arms defensively. He occupies space without asking permission, but also without invading the space of others. Another powerful detail: the way posture connects with gaze. A man with genuine confidence maintains balanced eye contact, in no rush to look away, and his posture reinforces this attitude. This creates a connection that goes beyond appearance. It's as if there were an invisible bridge between his presence and the emotions of those observing him. This is where posture and gaze become perfect allies. And when posture and energy align, the effect is almost inevitable. Attention is captured even before any interaction. This solid foundation sets the stage for the next element, where intensity focuses on an even more powerful detail: the gaze that sparks immediate interest. The look that sparks immediate interest. The gaze is the most subtle and, at the same time, the most powerful weapon a man can use to spark attraction and connection. It's not just a physical act of seeing, but a direct channel for conveying emotion, desire, and personal magnetism. A well-sustained, firm, but non-invasive gaze can make a man's heart race before any words are even spoken. It's the kind of impact that leaves a lasting impression. The secret isn't to approach it as if it were a challenge, but to convey calm and presence through your eyes. For example, when talking to a woman, holding your gaze for a few seconds longer than usual, then slowly looking away, creates an air of mystery and control. This triggers curiosity and instinct because the brain interprets this pause as a sign of interest and security. Another important point is intensity. The gaze that arouses desire isn't fixed and rigid like stone, but lively, with subtle variations, almost as if silently exploring her every expression. It's a balance between firmness and softness, between dominance and delicacy. Those who master this seem to read the other person, and this feeling of being understood deeply stirs a woman's emotions. Small gestures further enhance the power of the gaze. For example, a slight smile from the corner of your eye while maintaining eye contact, or a well-timed eyebrow raise, conveys an irresistible blend of mystery and value. It's as if each micro-expression is a veiled invitation for her to come closer and discover what lies beneath that intensity. When a man understands the power of his gaze, he transforms ordinary encounters into memorable moments. But the game doesn't stop there. Because once interest is ignited in his eyes, it's in his movements that desire begins to take shape. Calculated movements that arouse desire. A man's movements say more about him than many words. When they're slow, intentional, and charged with presence, they create an almost hypnotic sensation. It's as if each gesture conveys control, security, and personal magnetism. The key is to avoid agitation or haste, because a fast body conveys anxiety, while calm conveys mastery. Imagine a man who, when serving wine, holds the bottle firmly, tilts his body slightly, and pours the liquid unhurriedly, looking into the recipient's eyes. This simple movement, done with intention, creates a silent impact. A woman instinctively senses that he controls not only the action, but also the atmosphere around it. This is seduction at its highest level. Calculated movements also involve the space one occupies. When walking, a firm but unhurried step. When sitting, a subtle adjustment in posture, as if one were exactly where one should be. Even the act of adjusting a shirt sleeve or lightly touching one's chin can convey desire and curiosity when done at the right moment. Another detail, gestures should be congruent with gaze and posture. If a man maintains a confident posture and an intense gaze, but his movements are hurried and disordered, the connection is broken. Ideally, everything should be in harmony, conveying value and controlled energy. This alignment creates a silent language that instigates and captures attention. And when the body already speaks this way, there is an even more powerful resource to increase the intensity. Subtle touch, which can transform a simple interaction into an unforgettable experience. The subtle touch that changes everything. A well-placed touch is like a spark that ignites desire almost instantly. It's not about constant contact, but about the right moment and the exact intensity. When done subtly and controlled, touch creates a physical connection that the gaze and posture have already prepared. It awakens emotion, curiosity, and personal magnetism because it activates senses that words cannot reach. Imagine a simple situation. While walking alongside a woman, a man lightly touches her back to guide her through the crowd. It's quick, gentle, and full of intention. This small gesture communicates security, presence, and control of the situation without invading personal space. It's precisely this intensity that makes the touch irresistible. Another example is during a conversation. Upon hearing something she says, the man briefly touches her hand or arm, maintaining eye contact. This touch, combined with gaze and posture, conveys genuine attention and creates an emotional anchor. The message that reaches her subconscious is clear. You have my full attention. Subtle touch also carries mystery. By not prolonging it too much, it leaves room for imagination. It's this unpredictability that keeps the tension alive and makes her wait, even unconsciously, for the next contact. This interplay between presence and absence effortlessly intensifies attraction. And when touch is perfectly aligned with posture, gaze, and movement, a man doesn't need to say anything for a woman to feel she's in the presence of someone of high value. And it's precisely this perception that's further strengthened by the right body language. High-value body language. Body language is the invisible foundation that sustains a man's entire personal magnetism. It speaks before the mouth, and often louder than any rehearsed phrase. A high-value man conveys confidence, presence, and dominance simply by the way he occupies space. This means combining firm posture, a confident gaze, calculated movements, and a subtle touch in a harmony that naturally draws attention. Think of figures everyone recognizes as leaders. They rarely rush, maintain clean and controlled gestures, and every movement seems to have a purpose. By positioning himself this way, a man sends signals that he knows what he wants, and more importantly, that he knows he deserves it. This combination awakens instinct, desire, and curiosity in women, not because he's trying hard to impress, but because he is impressive for the way it presents itself. A crucial detail is to avoid gestures that convey insecurity. Fidgety hands, hunched shoulders, or hurried steps undermine the perception of self-worth. Conversely, open hands, relaxed arms at the sides, and calm movements convey security and control. The way a man leans in to listen, the way he turns when speaking, or the way he maintains eye contact while gesturing, all of this is part of a silent choreography that seduces. High-value body language also involves emotional presence. It's not just about being in the room, but about being present. At the moment, this means actively listening, responding with subtle expressions, and using silence strategically. This behavior demonstrates that he's not seeking approval, but offering his attention as something rare and valuable. When this body language is consistent, it creates an atmosphere of ongoing attraction. And this is where an often underestimated element comes in, but one that can be even more powerful than any gesture: silence, which creates tension and curiosity. The silence that creates tension and curiosity. Few understand that silence can be more seductive than any well-chosen word. A man who masters silence conveys control, presence, and mystery. He doesn't rush to fill the conversation, and precisely because of this, each sentence he utters carries more impact. Well-used silence generates curiosity because it leaves the other person wondering what he's thinking. Imagine a moment when, after a comment from her, the man simply smiles, holds her gaze, and says nothing for a few seconds. This brief pause creates an irresistible tension, as if the air has thickened. This pause isn't empty, it's charged with energy, with personal magnetism, with a silent invitation for her to come closer. Silence also serves as a natural test. Those who aren't comfortable with it tend to be quick to break it, revealing anxiety or insecurity. A high-value man, on the other hand, remains serene, conveying confidence and emotional mastery. This makes him perceived as someone who isn't easily shaken, reinforcing his value in the eyes of those observing him. This skill is even more powerful when combined with body language and eye contact. A firm posture, intense eye contact, and a slight head movement can say more than an entire speech. It's the kind of behavior that arouses desire without her being able to explain exactly why. And when silence creates this tension, any expression, a smile, a sidelong glance, a raised eyebrow takes on enormous weight. This is where we come across another resource capable of directly stirring the female imagination: the right facial expressions. Facial expressions that stimulate the female imagination. The face is a silent stage where subtle emotions can create a huge impact. A slight smile, a sidelong glance, or an enigmatic expression have the power to spark curiosity, desire, and connection. Women are naturally sensitive to micro-expressions, picking up on messages that aren't always conscious. A man who masters his facial expressions controls not only how he's seen, but how he's felt. Think of the power of a smile that doesn't reveal everything, one that lifts just one corner of the mouth as if hiding a secret. This gesture activates the feminine instinct to want to discover more. Or the quick, intentional sidelong glance that conveys interest without being too direct. These details create a psychological game, blending mystery and personal magnetism. Another powerful example is the expression of genuine attention. Slightly raised eyebrows, a slightly tilted head, and a fixed gaze convey presence and genuine interest. This not only enhances connection but also communicates security and value. The woman feels that he is truly there, with her, in the moment, and this creates an emotional bridge that goes beyond the physical. Controlling facial expressions also means knowing when not to show everything. A neutral, yet slightly intense, face can generate magnetic tension. It's visual silence, where what isn't shown is more provocative than what is revealed. This type of expression leaves room for the imagination to work, and the female imagination is a powerful ally in attraction. And when expressions are used as a conscious tool, they become part of a broader game of seduction. But for this game to be consistent, it's necessary to master something that serves as the foundation for everything else: the emotional control that magnetizes attention. The emotional control that magnetizes attention. A man who maintains emotional control in any situation conveys a quiet strength that few women can resist. This doesn't mean being cold or distant, but rather maintaining calm, presence, and clarity, even in the face of provocations, challenges, or moments of tension. This attitude conveys the message that he is stable, reliable, and in control. Imagine a heated argument where most would lose their temper and raise their voices. A high-value man maintains a calm tone, firm posture, and a calm gaze. This attitude, besides demonstrating dominance, creates a profound psychological impact. It conveys security and commands respect. After all, if he's not easily shaken, it's because he possesses an inner control few possess. Emotional control also manifests itself in small, everyday situations. For example, when dealing with delays, mistakes, or unexpected events, the person doesn't react with impulsive irritation. Instead, they breathe, adjust, and move forward with confidence. This behavior not only maintains connection, but also increases perceived value, as it demonstrates that the person doesn't allow themselves to be controlled by circumstances. Furthermore, emotional control directly influences the energy he transmits. A man who knows how to regulate his emotions maintains a constant personal magnetism, without oscillating between dramatic peaks and troughs. This creates a stable field of attraction, which is deeply comfortable and seductive for a woman. And when this control is combined with strategic doses of surprise, it becomes even more irresistible, because predictability can kill attraction, and unpredictability, when used well, keeps the flame burning. Unpredictability as a weapon of seduction. Predictability is comfortable, but it's also what slowly fades interest. Unpredictability, when used intelligently, keeps curiosity and desire alive. A man who can balance stability with small surprises creates an irresistible game for the female mind, activating emotion, instinct, and personal magnetism. We're not talking about being fickle or inconsistent, but about deliberately breaking patterns. For example, if she expects you to always text her good morning message, one day you don't, and the next day you show up with an unexpected coffee invitation. This type of behavior creates an impact and makes it clear that you're not predictable or easily controlled. Unpredictability can also be found in the way you conduct dates. If the first time was a traditional dinner, the next time it might be a stroll through an unusual part of town or even a late-night picnic. This variation stimulates curiosity and keeps the connection constantly renewed, because she never knows exactly what to expect. Another powerful move is to vary your body language and expressions. One moment, maintain an intense, prolonged gaze. The next, break eye contact and smile in an almost carefree way. This controlled oscillation creates an energy field where she's constantly trying to decipher you, and this is pure fuel for attraction. And when unpredictability, emotional control, presence, and body language come together, a man doesn't just awaken desire, he keeps it alive. And it's at this point that we can tie it all together in an engaging introduction that will set the stage for viewers to absorb every detail of this knowledge. Now that you understand every detail of this behavior, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue repeating the same mistakes that keep you invisible? Or will you start applying what you've learned to spark desire without having to say a word? The decision is yours alone, but remember, opportunities don't wait. Start by observing how you enter places, how you look, how you move, how you react to silence. Adjust one detail at a time, and you'll be surprised at the reactions you begin to provoke. Attraction is a game of perception, and when you master it, you don't compete, leader. Be honest with yourself. Are you conveying your true worth, or are you hiding behind insecurities and predictable behaviors? Think about it, and start acting like the man you know you can be. And if this content resonated with you, if it opened your mind to a more strategic approach to seduction, then don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and continue learning how to become irresistible without forcing anything. because the difference between an ordinary man and a magnetic man is simple. One waits, the other creates. And from now on, you know which side to choose.